Harald Grill from EuroCC Austria, Europewide or part of the Europewide network that is trying to bring high-performance computing to the research and business community across Europe. And let me check if we have a connection to Harald. Hello, can you hear us?
Hello, yeah, nice and clearly.
Wonderful. Once again, we talk about use cases of AI in the energy sector today. Now we're going to hear from Harald Grill of EuroCC Austria, who will have the floor for a couple of minutes. Use the opportunity to send us questions using Slido or the LinkedIn chat, and we will ask them in the Q&A session following Harald's presentation. I already got your slides here, and we'll hand over the floor to you. Talk to you in a bit.
Thank you, Matthias. Thanks for having me today. And I already apologize for, due to the time constraints that we already have, and we are behind schedule, that I do now a little shorter presentation, like a really basic 101 course on HPC, EuroCC, and the energy sector, with certain simplifications. But we have an afternoon session also from EuroCC, and there the whole topic will be elaborated more clearly or more into deep. So why am I now at an applied artificial intelligence conference talking about high performance computing? Why? And it's because it's a continuum. It's a continuum between AI, big data, and high performance computing. And high performance computing is an enabler for certain AI use cases when it gets to compute intensive things. And that's why I got invited here to present HPC and EuroCC. So what actually is high performance computing? High performance computing is compared to your conventional office laptop, let's call it that way, it's simply larger. So a modern PC, or let's say the office laptop, has one CPU or 4 CPUs, 8 CPUs, and advanced PCs, 16 CPUs, and one GPU, so a graphic card. And an HPC cluster actually has several hundreds of thousands of CPUs and or GPUs, depending on which cluster we're talking about. So what is actually an HPC cluster? It has the same component as your computer. It has processors, it has RAM, it has a storage, and the main difference is that this is all connected. All the processors are connected to each other with a really fast network. So the topics of bandwidth and latency are, let's say, solved in another way, and that's basically the big, let's say, difference to your personal computer. And on the hardware side, I know software side, or how this cluster works, is different to your PC or your laptop. It doesn't work on a serial way. On your normal PC, one program at a time computes, and then the other program computes, and so on and so forth. If you have 4 CPUs in your computer, one is on the Windows, one has the Office, and so on and so forth. Each application has its own CPU. When we're talking about high performance computing, we're talking about distributed memory parallelization. So everything runs in parallel, and because they are in parallel, they also have to communicate to each other. And that's the big difference. For instance, or to make it more understandable and tangible, if you are a company and you want to achieve money, for instance, you have a marketing department and you have the guys from production, for instance, and they are 2 departments. So let's call them, or let's make it, they are each one CPU, but they have to talk to each other. So the marketing guys and the production guys need to phone each other, and this phoning is the communication between each other. And this is key, what makes high performance computing, yeah, to make it more understandable or easy to understand what's the difference between your normal laptop and an HPC cluster. I'm going to skip this due to time constraints. What is actually now EuroCC? EuroCC is a network of 33 national competence centers, and we do take care about certain fields. Mainly, we come from the topic of high-performance computing, but we also care about high-performance data analysis, let's call it big data, yeah, and artificial intelligence. But to be honest, we care about high-performance AI. So when it gets computing intensive, because we have to take also care of about our resources. And if you have a question concerning HPC and you're within those 33 countries, just Google EuroCC and the respective country, and you will find your contact details, who you can approach. Where is it? So what's the aim or the goal of EuroCC? We are a single point of contact for HPC, and we provide broad services of portfolio to actually have an uptake of the high performance computing usage in all the communities like industry, academia, and public administration. So we have certain services that is especially for industries, and we do, for instance, small proof of concepts and so on and so forth. So you will see afterwards what I mean with that. And this is now the important message. We are fully funded, so we are free of charge. Yeah. And what has this now all to do with the energy sector, actually? And the audience here is very knowledgeable in the energy sector and in some parts of AI, and I wanted to sum it all up, and you have heard already certain facets of this whole energy sector and the AI topics, but I want to, let's say, give it another facet. And today we are now in an area where the energy sector gets digitalized, and that's on the left hand side. We have a certain intelligence now, mainly on the central layer, like the national electricity transmission networks, the electricity control areas, like APG here in Austria. But with the increase of digitalization, the edge also gets more sensors, and more data comes from the edge and can be processed in real time with basic analytics also in the edge. So the intelligence gets now and also in the future, not only from the central, but it gets pushed down also to the edge with certain let's say certain things like federated learning or compute to data or data to compute. That's the question, and so on and so forth. So I just want to buzzword here some of the topics, and we from the EuroCC help you with these with the question depend on high performance computing, and this can be on the layer of at the edge or at the central layer. So there's no difference for us. We just care about the uptake of high performance computing, and we do have some use cases. You will see them in the afternoon. And what we are also talking about within EuroCC is data spaces. Like you may have heard of Gaia-X or the International Data Space Associations and so on and so forth. So data is, some call it the new oil, which is absurd, because if you use oil once, it's gone. If you burn it, data can be reused. And with those with data spaces that include different competencies like data scientists, high performance computing guys, and so on and so forth, and also stakeholders from beyond the energy sector, like large scale consumers. Like in Austria here, we have mountains like the cable cars in the tourism sectors, or the e-mobility fleets in a small energy community, and so on and so forth. These topics will come, these data spaces, and this is a topic that will be also for high performance computing relevant, and also for the AI community.
And that's already the perfect